On August 9, 2014, Officer Darren Wilson shot and killed Michael Brown, an unarmed teenager in Ferguson, Missouri, a small city 20 miles outside of St. Louis. Brown's death led to months of demonstrations and unrest. The events in Ferguson spread to become a nationwide wave of protests against police brutality. On November 24, 2014, a grand jury decided not to indict Officer Wilson.
The grand jury deliberated over 2 days. They determined that no probable cause exists to file any charge against Officer Wilson.
Protests began immediately. On March 4, 2015, the U.S. Department of Justice released its investigation of the Ferguson Police Department. The findings were damning, and in the wake of the report, 2 police officers, a court clerk, and Ferguson Police Chief Thomas Jackson resigned. Going into 2015, more and more cases of police brutality made headlines and sparked more protests, with activists using social media to keep the stories at the top of the news cycle. The Black Lives Matter movement was born. We returned to Ferguson, Missouri to see what changes can be felt in the community over the past year. We reconnected with Jarus Williams, a 20-year-old student, activist, and lifelong resident of the area, to give us an intimate look inside the town that has become emblematic of the struggle for accountable law enforcement in America.
My name is Jarus Williams. I'm 20 years old. I'm a college student, and I'm from Ferguson, Missouri. This time last year, I actually became like a different person. There's been like more change over the past 12 months than there has been in my entire life. And it's been the most stressful, depressing, angering, every emotion you can think of. In July of 2014, I was about to start college, and I was really hopeful. Then shit kind of crashed. I found out about Mike Brown's death the day after at a friend's birthday dinner, and we were eating, and my friend came in, and he was like, "Yo, did you hear about that kid that just got killed?" And I was like, "Kids get killed all the time. What are you talking about?" He was like, "Some kid, Mike from Ferguson." And I was like, "Oh shit, I'm from Ferguson. What happened to him?" And he was like, "A cop killed him." And I was like, "Fuck." Like, that was new. But I didn't think it would be shit. And then I drove home and I turned on the TV and the Quick Trip was on fire. Nothing's been the same since then. I was working 2 jobs, taking 18 credit hours, and then at night I would be out protesting until like 1 o'clock in the morning.
It would be better if they treated us like we didn't exist, because they treat us like we exist and treat us like we're nothing. You acknowledge my presence, tell me in so many words that I'm nothing and that I'm nobody.
I remember feeling like I gotta really shit into the stick. I have to like go out and be one of the many Batmans of the neighborhood.
Relations between the Ferguson Police Department and the city's black community had been strained long before Darren Wilson encountered Michael Brown. The Department of Justice's report on the police force highlighted the internal pressure officers were under to issue tickets in order to create revenue for Ferguson, and the city's black community disproportionately bore the brunt of this ticketing policy. The Department of Justice reported that blacks accounted for 85% of vehicle stops between 2012 and 2014, and black residents received 90% of citations. These fines can accumulate and prove disastrous for low-income members of the community.
Yeah, it's criminalized black. There's a thing that we say in St. Louis, if you live in the city, like if you live in St. Louis City as opposed to St. Louis County, once you leave the county, you don't come back because you don't want to come back and deal with St. Louis County police because they'll stop you for literally anything. And you can like go to jail for literally anything. I think that the police should be a part of community building, but as far as Ferguson goes, not right now. Because the trust isn't there.
Any fucking way! Y'all shoot us any fucking way!
I'm sure some people would share my sentiments, some people may not, but I still have a negative reaction internally when I see a police officer. Like, people are out here feeling like our lives are in danger. And now this whole area means something different to me. Like, it doesn't mean like my childhood anymore. It means chaos and destruction and shit.
A year after the most destructive waves of protests on West Florissant in 2014, many of the damaged businesses remain dilapidated, while others are completely leveled. What's left is crumbling plots of concrete or paved over empty lots surrounded by temporary metal construction fences. The few businesses that have managed to reopen have done so without replacing their broken windows, opting instead for the wooden sheets employed after their initial destruction. In December of 2014, Governor Jay Nixon approved action to allocate $2.5 million to improving a 2.6-mile stretch of West Florissant Road, the results of which have yet to be seen.
And having to see the remnants of like your neighborhood being destroyed definitely has an impact. Nobody gives a fuck about this area, and it shows. The barbershop that I got my hair cut at for prom, that place is gone. Like, on indictment night, there was well, y'all know what happened. People were like setting fire to shit, and that was one of the places that went. And so like every time I drive by there, it's like, that's a pretty shitty memory. I think the question I would have to ask is, do businesses want to be in this area now? Do people want to live in this area? I don't think anyone much wanted to live here before. And now you go around and tell people, oh, I'm from Ferguson. It's like, oh, you know? It's even more of a, oh, okay.
According to 2012 census data, the median income in Ferguson is around $35,000. The national median income is closer to $50,000. But when you narrow the focus to Canfield Green, the area of apartment complexes where Michael Brown lived, the picture gets bleaker. That particular neighborhood's median income comes in under $27,000.
I don't think many of my friends from then have been fortunate enough to be in positions where they can have plans for themselves outside of what they're doing right now. The reason everyone has to work minimum wage and just above minimum wage jobs is because we don't have any skills. Like Walmart warehouse type of work, doing manual labor, learn how to drive a forklift, something like that. I think for me, I just hadn't thought that far ahead. I was really worried about the moment because the moment was difficult. What we saw the future as was mostly a continuation of what we were doing as teenagers. Hanging out, smoking weed, drinking liquor, and not necessarily being worried about like, oh shit, I have to go to work at this job that I hate today. I'm working a job that I hate right now, but the only comfort I get is knowing that I won't be working this job forever because I have a plan for myself. There were certain teachers that I had that were specifically black males that I had that were really influential for me. Like, and those were the teachers who would come to me and my friends and they would tell us, yo, you can do like what you want to do, like you can do whatever, like literally whatever. And like those were the first people to say something like that to us.
Education is fundamental to economic opportunity, but the schools in and around Ferguson vary widely in quality. Normandy High School, where Michael Brown graduated from in 2014, is part of one of the worst performing districts in the state. It was labeled a failed district in 2012 for low standardized test scores. In 2013, the four-year graduation rate for Normandy High School was 53%, compared to the state's average of 86%. McClure North High School, where Jarus attended, is part of the Ferguson-Florissant School District, which is generally a better service network of schools. In 2013, when Jarus graduated, the four-year graduation rate was 80% for both the student body as a whole and for black students. Still, only 31% of those graduating students went on to four-year colleges and universities.
Oh shit, the mats are already out. They're already out? Yeah. Oh man, this is super fucking weird. Yeah, wrestling was like really, like the first thing that I did that I was like super like dedicated to, and it like taught me how to like be in a situation and not have a way out, and to not like lose control over it. Like to not like lose control over myself in a situation where I can't control the outcome. A stressful situation, and it's me and the problem. Like it's me and the problem, and I have to and I have to take care of it because no one's gonna come to my aid. And I think that was a good lesson to learn at like 15. And actually one of my coaches, the varsity coach, I dated his daughter while I was on the team. He didn't like me very much. She doesn't like me very much anymore either. Well, I can only speak from my experience. Well, not that I didn't have fun, it was just like, graduated with a cumulative 1.8 GPA. Yeah. But it's cool, I'm in college though. None of us wanted to go to college. I didn't want to go. Like, I had no aspirations. That was college was another one of those spaces where we just decided that we didn't belong in.
You know, a lot of parents don't know how to go about getting financial aid for their kids, or, you know, going to the school to talk to someone about even enrolling their kids in school. You know, it's not, all they're thinking about is feeding them. Oh, I just think that education is the key for us to get out of this situation. I think that it will give him a better life, a better chance at life, let's put it like that, and kind of be on the same playing field as, you know, some of the people who are calling the shots.
When I first started going to the university that I go to, I remember specifically looking around the campus and thinking, like, they're gonna find out they fucked up one of these days. Like, they're gonna come into my class and they're gonna be like, hey, we found out about you. You gotta get out of here. I don't feel like that anymore. I am the fucking man at that school. And that's what I decided when I first started going there. Like my first week of school there, I decided I'm gonna make myself an asset here so that they can't kick me out.
Jarus is gonna land wherever he wants because he has drive, he's a good person, and he has a good heart.
Where does he get the drive from?
I hope he gets it from me, but I don't know, you have to ask him. You have to ask him where he gets his drive, but I just think he's always been a kid that whatever he wanted to do, he was gonna attempt to do it. So.
There's always going to be people who want to do more, and people who are just done doing. And I can't blame those people for being done. The most that we can do from the inside is to try to show people on the outside what's going on the inside. Whether they want to be a part of it is entirely up to them. Train has to move to the next station. If you want to hop on, then do so. If you don't, then no one can force you, you know?
When Jarus was going out last year protesting, I was very afraid, but also very proud. I was afraid because he's a young black kid. Anything could have happened. The cops didn't give, excuse my French, two fucks about those kids out there in the streets. So, you know, all the things that they were doing to them when they were out there protesting, anything could have happened to my son. Prime example, he got hit with a smoke bomb. But I was also proud because he was standing up for something that he believed in, and he believed wholeheartedly in, and he was willing to do whatever for, because he believed in this situation. You know, he knew that the situation wasn't right, and he wanted to be a part of the movement to make change.
How people are coping now is much of how we coped in the beginning. It's staying together and doing things together. Knowing that you're doing something that helps your community helps you also. Our community was affected so negatively by these events, and we were affected negatively from witnessing what happened to our community. Seeing our communities build back up helps us to build back up also on a personal level.
A year after Michael Brown's death, the citizens of Ferguson continue to feel the effects of not just last year's shooting and the failure to indict Darren Wilson, but decades of methodical oppression. Even as the Black Lives Matter movement sustains awareness about these issues, there's still so much to process and work through. 1 year later, this still feels like the beginning of a change too large for any one person to imagine.
Always first, always best.
Your stories,
your characters, your culture.
Subscribe to Complex
on YouTube today.